Good evening, everybody, and welcome to race number 8 of the Zwift Women's Racing Series. It may be evening for me, but if you're in the past, it might be the morning, and in Australia, it's probably tomorrow. Nicole, what time is it for you?
Well, I'm where you are, so it's evening. It's 20.
So it's Team UK tonight presenting the 8th and final race of the first series in 2024 of the Zwift Women's Racing Series. Tonight we have a single lap of the Bologna time trial route. There are obviously things to think about in terms of this route. Your pacing, your bike selection. Nicole, how are you attacking it tonight?
I'm going to race it on Saturday, but I always like to do a light bike with a disc wheel, which I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think you've always run the risk of you can gain more time on the flat part of a race, I think, than you can on the climb. So if you can get an advantage on the flat with like a disc wheel or something aero, then but still have that lighter frame for the actual climbing part. This is actually one of my favorite routes of all routes in Zwift.
I
So
mean, you might be able to tell by the little smiley face after beautiful Bologna, but it is my all-time favourite route, and I have hosted 100-kilometre rides or races on this route, which sort of leads into a little segue. The last time we had a 100-kilometre Bologna race was known as the Chris Greenland Memorial Fondo,
oh yeah,
and a bunch of the boys were drinking a can of beer at the top of every climb. Chris enjoyed it so much that after completing the 7 laps and 100 kilometres, he realised he'd bought 8 cans of beer, so had to do the hill climb one more time just so he could finish it.
I don't know that
But
I would be able to climb after that.
no, probably not. On bike selection and power strategy, I've always gone on the sort of 90 stroke 110 percentage of pacing. So I'll do slightly under FTP on the flat and slightly over on the climb. But like you, I'm all about max aero TT, disc wheel. I don't give too much in the way of science to it, but I just want to go fast on the flat and just as much as I possibly can going up and trying not to die halfway.
Well, I've always found that if I can stay with, the people that can go fast on the flat, if I can just stay with them, or even gain a bit on them on the flat part of it, then I'm in for sure for the climb because that's my favorite bit. So I don't actually like to relax on the flat part because I know that I can actually save a lot of time by pushing hard there. So
Um, for those of you who aren't entirely familiar with the route, it is pretty much bang on 6 kilometers flat. And here we have a nice little graphic. It's bang on 6 kilometers flat and bang on 2 kilometers of climbing at the end. And we'll see gradients of up to, I think it's 15, 16%. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but
no, it's two tough kilometers.
mm, you do get a little bit of respite with about 800 meters to go as you go through the cloisters. And it may be 6 or 7%, but it feels like you're going downhill.
But I always find that that is the part where if you've got someone that you're chasing, when you get that bit of respite, if you can just like muscle up the effort, then you can push on that time because that is usually when people want to take a breather. They want to just relax a little bit because they're tired because it's really hard. It's a really tough climb, and I've caught a lot of people on that little segment, that little section where it calms down.
I 100% take a breather at that section because I'm dying at that point. And
Yeah.
then just try and find something that might be left at the very, very bottom of the tank for the last sort of 500 meters where it does kick up a little bit again. But
Yeah,
yeah, I hear what you're saying. Maximize your pacing on the bits where other people aren't, and you can pick up a lot of ground at that point.
absolutely. Let's see. So how many do we have in the pen?
Now
Let
you're
me
asking me.
see that.
Nicole, if you just want to talk through the current standings and some of the riders that you've been racing with in your
In B,
efforts in this series.
yeah, so I think the ones I've seen in the BCAT the most are Louise, Kristen. I don't think I've raced yet with Melanie, but I've seen Louise, Kristen, Lisa, and Susan. Kristen is on level with me, so that's been good. We've tried to talk strategy, helping each other out. So I have I've raced with her. But yeah, I think I have been racing in the mornings on Tuesday or Saturday afternoons, and I tend to see. Like I say, Louise is a great climber. She really took off up the it was with KOM the other day, and that was impressive. We had to do it sort of 3 times in a row. Um, she was pretty impressive on that run. So
Just in terms of sign-ups, we have 119 for the event. We've got a breakdown of 25 signed up in A, 17 in B, 45 in C, and 32 in D. A quick
okay.
note on the fact that the series has actually been decided already in terms of A and B. We've got our top two with Rachel and Nini in A and Melanie and Alicia in B. That's all decided because the standings for this series are your best races out of six. Your best 6 races out of 8 will count, and there's a maximum of
Mhm.
100 points available for each stage. So we've already got 2 tied on 600 in both A and B. So maybe they'll just be fighting it out tonight for bragging rights.
My goal was just to get in the top 10, so I hope I
Good
can
job.
stay there. I'm close at the bottom, though. We'll see.
You said that this is one of your favourite stages, so maybe you can pick up a few bonus points as well.
We shall see. We shall see. Oh, there we go.
Here we are with our riders, and the clock is ticking down. By my clock, we've got about 20 seconds to go before the first rider heads out. We're just following someone with 2.5 minutes. Quick note on the starting setup. So we're using Zwift's time trial module. So all the riders will have their own unique start time. So everyone gets sent off in a staggered fashion. You don't really know how you're doing until the final results come in. You just want to try and set the best time you possibly can, and see what the results are at the end. But great to see so many ladies turning up tonight.
Yeah, it's been really good. I think it's been really popular, and everyone's really enjoyed the format of it. And I think it was a really reasonable number of races, and I think it was great as well that there were at least 3 or more time slots available. Um, so that really helped me be able to do some of them. For example, I'm away working this week, and I was sad to miss out on Bologna, but I'll get back in time for to do it on Saturday. So yeah, but it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it.
And here we have our first racer on the track. Um, Brady, talk to me about cadence. What are you aiming for on the flat, and what are you aiming for on the hill, or is it the same the whole way?
I will probably spin a little bit faster on the hill. I like to push really heavy gears on the flat. I think that comes from when I used to race track. Um, it's probably not the best strategy, but I do tend to push really heavy gears when I'm riding on the flat. But I live in the mountains, and so I spin up all the mountains here. So I definitely will change, which I don't know if that is the best strategy, but it's what I do. Oh, so we've already got someone overtaking there. Are
Flying
we
along.
looking at?
I tend to be the opposite. My cadence on the flat is probably 80 to 85, and probably partly because I'm a bit of a lazy gear changer, I'll generally do 65 to 75 on the climb. So who knows? Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a scientific reason over what is the best approach, but I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to what you feel most comfortable with.
Well, I think some of the high gradients that you have on this climb mean that you can't really uh, spin too quickly up it, even if you want to, unless you have just some really big gears. So I think there's a lot of standing that happens for me on the climb anyway. Um, so I would say probably on the flat, I'll stay between 70 and 85, and then I'll try to keep it at least above 80 on the climb for as long as I can. So who is this that are we looking at now? I I think this is a really difficult race for people to pace. Me as well. It's because I think some people get afraid of the climb, and so they don't take advantage of the flat section. Um, and that's understandable. It's a really tricky climb.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important that you don't burn too many matches on the flat section, which is where I referred to like 90 Vs 110 earlier. So um, I've always been of the mantra of you put out your most effort when you're going slowest. So you don't want to go all out on the flat because you have your like the additional power you could put down on the flat will have less of a difference compared to putting out additional power on the climb. So I would always recommend going a little under FTP on the flats and then a little over, or whatever you can do on that last on the climbing section. I think if we're talking probably like B, maybe high C pace, maybe like 9 minutes of a flat, 9 minutes of a climb. Actually, that's probably quite ambitious for high C. But yeah, so if you want to go sub 20, I guess it's probably 11 minutes of a flat and then try and do a 9 minute climb.
I believe my last time was sub 20. But I don't know if I'll do that. I don't know. I was really fit at the time. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that this Saturday.
I think Bologna is the perfect test of where you are. I think we've subsequently brought out the grade KQOM, which is probably an even better test of how you are fitness. But prior to that, I always saw Bologna as the best opportunity to see where you're at.
Yeah, yes, it is a good benchmark. Um, I like to use it for that as well. And see, is time trial bike mandatory for this?
No, no.
No. Oh, this is
Yes.
seeing all these people, and I cannot. I'm gonna have to look back and see when I got my fastest time. I should be on a time trial bike on Saturday. Hmm.
I am fairly certain all of my best times on this have been time trial bikes. I don't think I've ever gone for like super. Well, I've definitely never tried to do the ridiculous thing of trying to do a bike swap as soon as you hit the climb, which I know some
Oh no,
people do love to do.
that would take too much time. But it is interesting. If you've ever tried to, I mean, I know this isn't real life, but if you've ever tried to climb on a time trial bike, it's tough. I would not want to in real life.
Is that tough in terms of stability or just the additional weight you're carrying?
It's just heavy, and it's not the right geometry for it, especially if it's steep. But I'm sure it's quite fancy. I
Quick
do have a
shout out.
similar. Oh,
Just to say, quick shout out to Becca Neeson, who we're watching at the moment. Becca is the mastermind behind the FemCycle collab Discord group, which also does a lot of work with Zwift Insider to publish their women's racing information, which includes some streams of women's racing, as well as some introductions to some of the women that take part in these events. So big thank you to Becca for doing all that, and looks like she's going along quite nicely with a little overtake coming up here. And obviously
Yeah.
she's made certain the headgear is the most aero possible with the Zwift squirrel hat, which the fins give you an additional aero advantage. No, they don't really, but they look like they should do.
I know. It's my favorite hat on Zwift.
Do
Oh,
you have the
no,
squirrel hat yet, Rudy?
I don't have it. I'm still 5 levels away. I don't have it yet. But to go back to Becca, she's an amazingly supportive writer of
And here she
you know.
is in the
Oh
cave.
yeah, we see her. Yep, she is in the pain cave. She looks very calm.
I can't imagine riding in what appears to be a garage in the middle of summer when it gets really hot.
Yes, yes. And she's in California, I believe. So it's probably heating up nice here. She's somewhere West Coast, I believe. So hot, hot, hot.
And Becca has around about 1.5 kilometers to go before things get exciting and very spicy.
Yes, yes, very spicy. I think on reflection, I will probably use a time trial bike and then light wheels. Maybe I will do that. Maybe that will be my. Mm,
And for those of you who still aren't sure which bike to take, if you go to zwifterbikes.web.app, AWP, there's a really handy guide on there to lets you choose which world and routes you want to look at, and it will give you recommendations of which bike and wheels to use based on your weight and your FTP. And you can search by either the routes or by various KOMs and sprints to find out what's the best setup for whatever you're looking to achieve.
one of the things. Sorry, not to change the subject, but one of the things I really liked about how the women's series was done, well, especially like the situation where you can see all the other cats. I quite like it when it's like that. Often I have friends that are racing in C and D, and I always feel a little bit isolated from them. So it's kind of cool when everyone's just together. I think that's really good. Even though we have different starting times, you can sort of see your friends still.
Yeah, and I think you really need that in the time trial because there's no draft. There
Yeah,
isn't really someone to hang on to. So having wheels to chase is such a massive benefit as we start to see
it
the first
is.
riders hitting the climb.
I always like someone to chase. Oh, so have we started the climb?
We
Ah, there we
have
go.
indeed.
And who is this?
It's one
Is
of
that
the
Thompson?
ABA Synergy riders holding 6.5 to 7 watts a kilo in my dreams.
Yes. Also in mine.
But yeah, like you were saying, I know you and I like to have the same trick of signing up as late as possible, so that you start as far to the back of the field as possible, so you have more wheels in front to chase down.
Yes. Yes, it does help. At least for me mentally. Um, I think one of the very first race was a time trial as well, and I passed somebody. I actually think it was um, Laura. Passed her, and then she caught me again, and I thought I still had her, but she beat me by 3 seconds because I wasn't paying attention. And I was like, no, I still have time on her. But nope. All right.
Just a quick note on a couple of the riders we've seen so far. So the rider we were featuring just now was Teneo Lotto, who was holding a here we go, holding a very respectable 4.5 going up the climb, and looks like she's settled in quite nicely, holding very steady power.
Yeah.
And this is before it gets really nasty. I think it's around 6.9 kilometers where you come around the bend, do a little switchback, and then it gets pretty, well, very unpleasant as you're riding it. But it's a great feeling once you've actually finished. But that's when you see the gradient kicking up to over 12%.
Yes, which is uncomfortable. Um,
And here we are with Louise Gamst, who is a regular on a number of the various different Zwift racing events.
what kit is that? It's really cool.
I think it's probably the BL13 one. I think they
Is
may
it?
have a women's one.
Oh wow, that's great.
Just quickly on Louise. Louise is currently in P11 in the A standings. So hoping to pick up a few extra points and move her into the top 10.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things change with this one.
So
We
yeah,
often,
Louise is coming up to a switchbacks, which if we stay with her for a little bit longer, we should see. There we go. Here's the first corner. So you've got a quick left and then a quick right, and then into Wall of Pain.
yes, I have a climb very similar to me near my house. No, I'm sorry, very similar to this near my house. It is just as uncomfortable in real life.
Well, I hope the way home is all downhill because I think the last thing you want to do after a climb like this is have to go up a climb again just to get home.
Unfortunately, the climb to my house is about 14%. Luckily, it only lasts for about 200 meters, but it's still a very uncomfortable, unpleasant 200 meters.
So this is Maria. Oh no, we've changed. It's back to a lady who refers to herself as Mrs. Rosenbach, racing for CBC. Um, just starting to hit the steeper ends of the slope and pushing at a very respectable 4.9 watts per kilo. So
Yes,
looks to be
she's a
going
great
very
rider.
nicely.
Yeah, I've raced with her quite a lot on this series. She's great, very strong. And see, she's gone for
And
the light.
yeah, I always think it's a lot of 6 and 2 threes and probably comes down to a second or two at the end based on probably like the top 3 or 5 setups you could possibly have. And do you know what, Brody? I think a lot of it's mental. If you convince
Mhm.
yourself you have the best setup, I think you feel more inspired to go even harder.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. How is Becca doing in the pain cave?
See if our video producer can supply us with some live camera shots. Yep,
Okay, so
fans blowing
she's
nicely,
got,
as are
yeah,
Becca's cheeks.
yeah, she is,
Oh, here we
yeah,
go,
this is where you
up to the big
and
stand.
yeah, yeah. Uh, it's really exciting on the steep parts of this climb when you've got all the cyclists in a row like that.
I'll tell you what, from the side-on view as well, you see exactly quite how steep this climb really is.
Oh yeah.
Looks like Tanioletto is going along nicely as well. Definitely looks like she's on the flatter section coming towards the end. Yep, here we go,
Yes.
last 600
Yep.
meters.
Yep. She's
A
really there.
positively downhill that isn't 5%, but it really, really feels like it. But
It's
she's
amazing
still
how
pushing out the watts.
Yeah, she is. It's amazing how 6% suddenly feels good.
Whereas any other time it feels a bit tough. And then we just got a little bit of a kick before the end, and Louise Garrett is flying with a
I
capital F.
know. Wow.
Very keen to get into the top 10. Yeah, Louise
Yeah.
pushing out 5.5 watts per kilo.
Yes, that's impressive. And I think she, she did a little bit of what I was talking about earlier, is taking advantage of that section that's a little bit calms down a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think another really good example of how that's so important is if you look at the volcano climb, where you
I
have the
was
dips
about
and the flat
to say
bit through
that.
the volcano. You can
I
make
was
or
about
lose
to
so
say
much time.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that really quick on the volcano, that you cannot relax on those bits. You have to push through the calmer, flatter sections.
Yeah, definitely. And here's Louise powering onto the line.
I bet she's going to be relieved to cross under that arch.
We should start getting some live results before too long.
Those are some
Here's
amazing times.
Tennille just crossing the line there. But yeah, these times are phenomenal.
They are
Here we've
amazing.
got
Like,
back to Mrs. Rosenbach, who is 500 meters from the line. And this is looking like it will be comfortably sub 20 minutes, which in my mind is always the benchmark for Bologna. Going under 20 always feels like a big badge of honor.
yeah, I remember the first time I did it. This climb is responsible because every summer I sort of relax and I ride outside, and then I end up back in C because I don't race on Zwift over the summer very much. And it's usually this is the climb that gets me back into B.
Hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. This is Anne Nevin, who has got about 100 meters to go. And she's seen the line. She's pushing hard for the last 100 meters. And
Gosh,
will
that is
cross the line in a time around 16 minutes 30 or even 16:28.
that is impressively rapid. Goodness gracious, very impressive.
And Mrs. Rosenbach with 300, 200 meters to go. Looking to just dip under 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see if she can get this.
Here we go, 200 to go, 40 seconds.
Just around that corner. Oh, I think she'll do it.
And Jem flying from behind.
Yes.
But
Goodness.
Mrs. Rosenbach looking to be around 1950.
Very good.
We're back to Becca, who is still giving it absolutely everything. By the way you can see on those that camera footage, I guarantee you I'm going to get some grief probably in about 5 or 10 minutes.
She's doing great. She's got amazing power. She is
Here we
an
go,
amazing
big kick
rider.
to the line from Becca. Well done, Becca.
Well done, Becca.
And we've got Tina from What Fabric just coming onto the final corner. And this is looking to be a time around about 18 minutes 20 as well. So another really solid time.
Yeah, amazing. So rapid.
This is Anna Londa. I always get my flags mixed. I think that's Australia, but it could be New Zealand. And for anyone in the Southern Hemisphere, I apologise.
I believe that's Australia. Hard to see though. It's a very tiny flag. I used to live there, so I should really know better.
It is very small on the screen. This is Steph Kaz,
Hmm.
also looking to try and just pip 20 minutes, and I think she'll just about make it.
One of the great things I think about these series is that we've all seen each other on ZRL. We recognize each other, but this is, ZRL is just big and spread out, and oh, there's Jamie. Sorry.
Yeah, let's give a little shout out to Jamie Chase, one of the friendliest
Yeah,
members of the female community you will ever meet, and this is a really, really solid time by it. Looks to be around about 18:10.
she is absolutely so supportive. She is, I pretty much every time I do a race, she'll, and if she's seen it, she'll comment or she'll cheer me on mid race. She'll send me a message or something. She's such a lovely person. Really strong rider. I didn't realize she'd upgraded to A. That's amazing.
She actually hasn't, but she wants to push herself as much as she can do. So Jamie's been racing in Cat A as a B to try and make herself stronger. So
Hey, that's how
super
to do
job
it.
for. Yeah. We've got Eleanor Dixon here racing for Team Synergy. Just coming around the corners, looking to be around 17:30.
And who have we got? We got another under 20-minute B.
This is Vivian Tomlin, sorry, racing for Socks for Watts, which is still, I think, one of the best named teams in Zwift.
Yes, that's a great team name.
But 200 meters to go, just to dip
Oh,
under 20. We're
she's
back
the
to
first one I've seen.
Eleanor.
Oh, sorry, no, she was the first one I've seen not on a time trial bike. Interesting choice. That may be me. And here's another one. Oh no, she's on a time trial bike.
One of the Team Valhalla riders. I'm not going to try and pronounce that surname because it will just go horribly wrong. Another rider for Synergy. This is Nicholas Smith.
Yeah,
Crossing through the line, great job.
yeah. Well, lots of under 20 minutes. This is impressive.
Got one of our D riders here.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jane Ferguson, racing for Gen X.
I don't think I've heard of that team.
I think when it comes to hill climbs, I've got so much respect for the C and D riders because it hurts just as much, but it takes longer. So
Absolutely.
really, it's so much easier for these like A riders who can hold 5 watts a kilo. They only have to do it for 16 minutes, whereas if you're a D, you're looking at probably 25. So actually, in terms of effort, the Ds and the Cs are the best categories in the entire field.
Absolutely. No, I really enjoy. I often will do DS for the C and D teams on level, and when I was with WTRL, and sometimes with the herd with the C and D teams. So I just think it's really exciting, and I really enjoy watching them.
I think, especially referring to the CD and I think B to an extent as well, that there always appears to be the races I watch. There always appears to be a higher level of support and camaraderie, and everyone wanting everyone else to do well. If someone drops off the back, there's all cheering them back on. It's always lovely to see.
It is. It's great. There is a lot of really good, team spirit and camaraderie, like you say, which is why I really enjoy being a DS. So. How many D riders did we have on here?
I am just looking at Zwift Power at the moment, and it looks like we've got about 15 in the field. The C field's enormous.
Yes. Yeah. It's really good turnout, especially for this race. This is not a lot of people's favorites. It might be our favorite, but this one is not necessarily everyone's
this
favorite.
this is Bridget Jost, just coming around the final corner before the finish line.
It's such a relief when you come around that corner and see that banner
It really is.
or the arch. It's oh, I got a Galaxy rider. I do love my Galaxy friends.
This is Minna, who I believe was actually the Finnish national champion, beating crowd favourite Jenny Egg into second place. And Jam Jam's having a nice little sit down. And this is Anne Nevin on the way down the hill. I think she might actually be on
Amazing.
the phone now. We're getting some extra footage.
Hmm.
One of the
Do you,
fearless riders.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the fearless riders. I
Do
think
we
it's Jenny Bromston.
Did we have did was there any classification of teams like which teams
Yes.
had how are those looking? Or do we know yet?
So, very quickly, in terms of team standings, in category A, leading is ESRT, followed by ATP, followed by BL30. And in Cat B, we've got ATP, followed by Coalition, followed by Synergy. C,
Okay.
some common names came up here. C is Coalition, Synergy, and ATP. And in Cat D, it's topped by the Herd, followed by ATP, followed by the Coalition. So for each category, each team, their top five riders will count towards the standings, and those are what we
Amazing.
have currently.
Oh, we've got a level rider there. Indeed, that's amazing.
Hannah G,
Hmm.
which is related to Ali.
And we have new level kit. We just got our level kit recently. It's very pretty and green.
Yep, you are definitely going to be well equipped for those darker rides where all the cars will be able to see you. And may be especially important for when you have to try and avoid the pedestrians in Mercury Islands.
There's the level kit. There it is right there.
Yep, J Law, fresh out of her Hollywood career to take up Zwift racing and doing a fine job of it by the looks of things.
There you
Round the final corner.
Yeah, that's a great time.
I can see we've got an O'Shea for Owl just behind. Quick shout out to Elaine Montoya, who runs the Owl team. Owl actually stands for Older Women in Lycra, a group of 60 plus ladies, 60 plus being the age, not the number of the people in the group. And Elaine does a lot of hard work with that community to put on engaging events and make sure everyone has a lot of fun.
That's amazing. I love that. Older women in Lycra. Maybe I
Yeah.
should stop. Middle-aged women in Lycra. Oh, we got a sprinter. That's impressive. Did you see her sprinting the finish there?
I'll tell you what, if anyone can sprint at the end of a time trial, hats off to you.
Yes. Yes.
So
I think
we
this
have had about 40 finishes so far. I think we probably have about another 20 to come. So two-thirds
okay.
of the field are through the finish line.
All
This
the
is
coalition
Geraldine Hope.
riders.
What? Yep, Geraldine Hope from the Drafting Dinos.
Yep.
I remember once I let the Drafting Dinos have a group ride where they were drafting each other as dinos, and the first thing they all said to me was, "Can we do it again?"
I saw that ride. That was amazing.
So this is
The coalition
Sarah
riders.
Coalition.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, I was pretty excited. That's Sarah Hazeldine in a very fetching purple kit for the coalition, and she is also coming around the final corner.
mhm. But the coalition riders have really turned up for this. They've really had a good showing. That's excellent.
Yeah, I think Becca and Susan have been fantastic cheerleaders in the coalition. They've come up in force week in, week out. And here's a bit of fire sock action that everyone loves to see.
Yes, it's really tough for me to make them go off. I got really excited by the fire sock when I got them, and then I
In,
can never
in
make them go off.
in my opinion, the greatest accessory in Zwift.
Well, no, the squirrel hat is the greatest accessory in Zwift.
Yeah, no, the the squirrel hat doesn't light up on fire.
No, but it's cute.
Hmm, there is that. And I think we're coming to some of our final riders with around about 15 to cross the line. A number of the team Swedish Zwifter riders just crossing over now.
Some really strong times from all groups. It's really impressive. They're seeing some really excellent efforts here tonight.
This is T. Isaac, another of the coalition riders, and some more Farsock action. Oh, what a time to be alive! Racing from Japan.
Hmm. Would be quite late there as well.
I'm gonna guess that it's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. So whether or not she's actually based in Japan or is just Japanese racing from somewhere else in the world,
Yeah.
I can't imagine getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Whilst amazing as this series has been, yeah, 3 o'clock would be a bit of a push, I think.
I once did a ride at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that was tough enough it was because I wanted to unlock this kit from the Betty Designs. So I had to do one of their rides.
Very good. This is Saskia Polonsky, Canadian rider. Doesn't appear to be affiliated with a team, so if you want a team, get in touch. We can help.
Fem Collab will help you.
I've got an entire Discord server full of ladies teams who'll love to be supportive and help you find the right place for your needs. So Saskia just crossing the line now. Great job.
Excellent.
This is Sophie Nordqvist, racing for the ESRT, another of the Swedish riders. The Swedish have an enormous community on Zwift, but Scandinavians, especially the Danish and the Swedes, like come out in numbers all the time. And over the line.
Yes.
And this is H Kitty. I just want to say Hello Kitty, but I'm sure that probably isn't actually her name.
I was thinking that as well.
Can't actually find her, so it would appear she's not actually on Zwift Power.
Oh.
But she does not have far to go at all, just 300 meters, and then it'll all be done.
It's such a relieving thing. I know I've already said this, but when you come around the corner and you see that banner, you have your bucket ready after this race. Necessary.
I think we only have two riders left on the field. We'll call her Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty's down to the last 200 meters. Just a few corners round left to go, and then we have Sarah Allenby just behind.
Yeah. So
But
I have seen a mix of time trial bikes and non-time trial bikes, and this is making me think about what I want to do. I'll probably do a time trial bike, but I don't know. Mm.
I think
There's
that's the
another.
problem with races like this. There's so many options you can choose from, and you're always second guessing yourself to knowing if you've actually made the right decision. Does zwifterbikes.web.app have the best data available? Is it recent? Have there been any more frames added since it was last updated? It's just
Well,
very
and as
confusing.
well, I fall into this strange category myself of I'm slightly heavier compared to a lot. Oh, so what we have coming
Here
up
we
here?
fire away with results, Brady.
Is this the A cat? So we have
It is.
Joanna Tidholm in first place with 15:52. My goodness, that is rapid. That is rapid. And then after that, Nina Koistinen and Anna Nevin from Coalition. Again, these Coalition riders are really coming out. And look at these watts per kilo. They are insane. And Maria Tomerby in fourth place, Laura Meyer in fifth, Louise Gamst in sixth, and Teresa Walkendorf in seventh, Anna Longdale in eighth, Gemma Thompson in ninth, and Tennille Otto in 10th. All of them averaging above 4 watts per kilo.
Moving on to Cat
Ah,
B, we've got Sylvia McCallick in first with Arbecker in second, Vivian Tomlin in third, Steph Kaz in fourth, Mrs. Rosenbeck in fifth, Joanna Borowick in sixth, and Nicola Smith in seventh.
well done to all of those ladies. And in C, we've got Gretchen Zoller in first place, Jen Panteluk in second place, Freya Fodkul in third, Sonia Joibden in fourth, Judith Daniel in fifth, Chris Titskarabi in sixth, Africa Battle in seventh, Alicia Borsoy in eighth, Jaden Whites from Synergy in ninth, and H. Coity in 10th.
And finally on to Cat D, won by Lel Moss, followed by Jane Torgerson, then Geraldine Hope in third, Maker Henriksen in fourth, Julie Lawrence in fifth, T. Isaac, the Japanese rider we were following, in sixth, Celine Savage is in seventh, Fiona Herbertson, I think that's actually Herbertson Owl, in eighth,
Yeah.
Patty O'Shea in ninth, and we've got Rachel Burns with Drafting Dino in 10th. And that pretty much brings us to the end of our coverage today. Thank you very much for joining myself and Brady. We've had a great time. Hope you have as well. And we will see you for the new series, which
Yep.
starts
Thanks, guys.
in a week. And
Yes.
our video producer has very kindly led us on to the next series. So, Brady, walk us through the routes. Bless you.
So we're starting off with an individual ITT of the Jurassic Coast, which I quite enjoy that course. And then Mountain Mash, which is a scratch race, which we had that one this time around as well. I really enjoyed that course. But I like a climb. So race 3, we've got another scratch race with the Sugar Cookie. It's a longer race. I can't remember how many kilometers that is, but it's decent. And then race 4, we have another scratch race. What is that? Oh Hill No.
No. It is a race straight up the grade KOM and back down again. Believe me, the descent does not take long at all. The climb average is
No.
10%.
I like that. Oh Hill No.
Race 5 is a single lap of Miyoko Onaita, another scratch race, followed by 3 laps of Mekelle Loop, and believe me, this one's another head scratcher for a bike choice with a relatively short gravel climb. Race 7 is the big hill climb of the series. It's a single lap of the Innsbruck UCI course with about 450 meters of climbing on the Innsbruck KOM before we come to the final time trial, which is a perfect 10 miles with 2 laps of lock loop.
Oh, Scotland's always difficult.
So
I have a
we
long
hope
history.
to see you. We hope to see you all there, and we'll be back with a live coverage of the next series.
Have a good night, everybody, or good day, depending where you are in the world.